Today on Public Eye News, Michigan legislators are considering a new way to detect marijuana usage in drivers, and the Coast Guard is searching searching the coast of Florida for 38 people still missing.
Later, I will have your weather, and Michael will have your sports update. Hello, my name is Brendan Ford.
And I'm Michael Cudahy, and this is Public Eye News.
Michigan legislators are considering letting the police use saliva tests to detect marijuana usage in drivers. As of right now, officers have to use their judgment to detect if the driver is under the influence of marijuana. The technology is still in the process of being made, and unlike alcohol, the legislation does not set a legal limit as to how under the influence one can be. Also in Michigan, a proposed settlement is allowing faith-based adoption agencies to deny same-sex couples from adopting. David Malechnik, the spokesperson for the Michigan Catholic Conference, states that this is a constitutional right to religious liberty. This all comes after the U.S. Supreme Court had a similar ruling in Philadelphia with a Catholic-based adoption agency. St. Vincent Catholic Charities will be paid $550,000 by the state of Michigan. And the men who tried to kidnap Governor Whitmer claims that they were illegally influenced by rogue agents and informants to plot the kidnapping. In response to this, the judge denied dismissal of the charges. The judge also stated that the men showed no absence of interest in the plot, which stems from their disgust of COVID restrictions at the time. Whitmer feels that Trump, who was president at the time, is somewhat responsible for telling his supporters to, quote, liberate, end quote, Michigan from the stay-at-home mandates.
And Michigan State Attorney General Dana Nessel has launched an investigation into pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly. The investigation will look into the role some drug companies have taken in disgustingly excessive drug prices. AG Nessel is using the Michigan Consumer Protection Act to ensure proper accountability during the investigation. Nessel will look for a reconsideration of two rulings by the Michigan State Supreme Court. The Center for Disease Control estimates that there are 34 million Americans with diabetes. The life-saving drug insulin costs about $13 per milliliter in the United States, compared to $3 north of the border in Canada and $6 down in Chile. Insulin is expected to be one of the main drugs whose price will be investigated. And as this story develops, you will likely hear a lot about Smith and Liss, the two rulings that Nessel would look to have reconsidered. Those two decisions make it so that an industry that is, quote, generally regulated, end quote, from being investigated. And for those of you who like to text and drive, stop doing that. A new bill passed by the Michigan State Legislature would fix current loopholes in legislation. Currently, you're just not allowed to send a text. But Representative Marie Manugan pointed out that you can still shop online, film a TikTok, or take part in a Zoom call and still be compliant with current Michigan laws. Current penalties for distracted driving is $100 for your first offense and then $200 for each subsequent offense. Now the first offense will stay the same, with the subsequent offense being $250. Penalties will be doubled if a driver is involved in a crash. And this morning, a Milwaukee County deputy sheriff was shot multiple times by a suspect who then fled the scene. Milwaukee County Sheriff Ernal Lucas said that the deputy's injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. Officers approached a potential suspect later this morning, but that the man appeared to have a self-inflicted gunshot wound. All Milwaukee area residents received an alert on their phone to shelter in place. This is the second time in the last 2 weeks that a Milwaukee law enforcement officer has been shot, the last taking place on January 13th. And after this break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
The Maya built great cities.
Terraces, road systems, it's a perfect planned city.
And then abandoned them. Can new discoveries reveal why?
And then, bam, we have these huge deposits.
It is completely unique. There's nothing like it.
There's a history behind those artifacts, a culture we want to know better. The Maya are still here.
Ancient Maya Metropolis on Nova.
Tonight at 9 and tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Welcome back. The Coast Guard is searching the coasts of Florida for what they suspect is a human smuggling boat that was capsized in a storm. The accident has killed at least one person, with 38 passengers still missing. This information comes from the one known survivor who alerted the Coast Guard on Tuesday morning of the occurrence. The survivor was found alone on top of the overturned boat, which was apparently pushed north by the Gulf Stream. The Coast Guard states that they have had multiple ships and aircraft search the area for survivors, and they've covered as much as the size of New Jersey, and still haven't had luck. And the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, announced Monday it is restraining the use of 2 out of 3 monoclonal antibody treatments available in the U.S. New data shows that they aren't effective against the Omicron variant, which accounts for an estimated 99% of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. And if you purchased any COVID-19 home rapid tests online, you may want to keep an eye out for those packages when they arrive, as the cold weather could jeopardize contents. WCCO's Jeff Wagner is in Minneapolis, Minnesota with the latest.
The temperature outside right now is 0. Not ideal for us and definitely not ideal for certain packages. Did you order any of the government test kits?
I have not had a chance just yet.
Yes, I did.
The COVID rapid tests are shipped in a bag, surrounded by bubble wrap. 2 thin layers, likely not meant to keep it warm. The test kit, like similar brands, is supposed to be stored between 36 and 86 degrees. It also states not to freeze it. Do you have any idea what the temperature is right now?
It's probably around single digits.
Because it's a nice typical Minnesota summer, 30, 40 below wind chills and all that.
How do you think these kits handle the cold like this?
If somebody had an outside mailbox, you probably would want to get them right away.
Health officials say the tests will be fine if they're sitting in a frigid mailbox for a few hours, but some manufacturers warn that any extended time spent in extreme cold or heat could affect the test results. If you can't get to it right away, one brand recommends you arrange for someone else to retrieve it as soon as possible.
And I certainly would say before you use it, make sure nothing froze and cracked and things like that.
There is liquid in the test kit, and while manufacturers have not indicated if it will freeze, they do want people to let the kit warm up to room temperature before use. Where's your mailbox?
My mailbox is inside my apartment building.
It's not as much of a concern for you.
Right.
I think this is something that they certainly planned on, especially in this half of the country that it's not exactly going to be 70 and sunny all the time.
If you're worried about constantly checking your mailbox for the package, check your inbox first. Tracking numbers have been sent to the email addresses attached to orders, letting people know when they should arrive. Jeff Wagner.
Hopefully it's not too little too late.
WCCO 4 News.
And tensions continue to rise in Ukraine and around the world as Russia continues to add soldiers to the Russia-Ukrainian border and have also ramped up war games in the region. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba informed reporters that Russia currently does not have the resources necessary to mount a full-scale invasion. Advisors from Russia, France, Germany, and Ukraine met in Paris for diplomatic negotiations, and Germany has been accused of prioritizing its economic ties with Russia over the security of Ukraine. But after delivering 5,000 military helmets to Ukraine, the German Defense Minister, Christine Lambrecht, said that the helmets are a clear signal that they are on the Ukrainian side. But Germany will not be sending lethal weapons to Ukraine. Russia has demanded guarantees that Ukraine and other former Soviet nations never be admitted to NATO, and that NATO rolls back its troop deployment in former Soviet bloc nations, who Russia views as its sphere of influence. And there's backlash brewing in Europe over a rare and severe snowstorm that's causing chaos on the roads and at the airports. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London.
Thousands of cars are stuck in their tracks after a blizzard shut down the most modern highway in Greece. Outraged drivers spent the night trapped in their vehicles in freezing temperatures. He says, "I've been stuck here for more than 24 hours and we haven't moved an inch." Heavy snow doesn't hit the Greek capital very often.
It's really beautiful, and it's rare that we get to experience this snow in Greece.
But this is the second year in a row several inches have blanketed beaches in Athens and caused chaos on the roads. In neighboring Turkey, rescue crews spent the night digging out cars and families. The storm pounded Istanbul, dumping 31 inches of snow in some areas. A bus camera caught the moment an icy blast nearly knocked a woman off her feet. At the airport, flights were grounded, stranding passengers and provoking protest. We need protest! We need protest! Those not in such a rush found beauty in the winter wonderland. And while the snow will be around for a while in Turkey, back in Greece, people are quickly snapping photos with Frosty before he melts away. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with your weather and sports updates. Stay tuned.
At age of 50, Vivian Stansel was told by her doctor she wouldn't make it to 60 if she didn't lose weight. Despite being blind, Vivian learned how to swim, became a champion senior Olympian, created a foundation that provides free swimming lessons to children, and she's also a community advocate. Join us as we speak to Vivian about her inspiring story at Dee's Diners in Riverside, California.
Saturday morning at 7 on WNMU-TV.
Hello and welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm here to give you your weather for today. Here in Marquette, Michigan, you can see on the Northern Michigan University campus, it is very cloudy. Let's go ahead and get into our current conditions. Mostly cloudy with a temperature of 9 degrees, winds heading out of the south-southwest at 10 miles per hour, with a barometric pressure of 30.03 and falling. Looking into tonight, we're going to be expecting some snow with a low of 15 degrees, winds heading out of the west at 21 miles per hour. And looking into tomorrow, that snow will continue with a high of 22 and winds heading out of the northwest at 17 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the UP. Starting over in Sault Ste. Marie, it is 15 degrees and cloudy. Over in Manistee, 11 degrees, partly cloudy. And then you can see in Escanaba, a full sunny sky with a temperature of 7 degrees. Over in Menominee, a 5-degree temperature with sunny skies. Moving on to Iron Mountain, it is 9 degrees and partly cloudy. And then in Ironwood, similar temperatures, 9 degrees and partly cloudy. Over in Houghton, clouds cover up the entirety of the sky with a temperature of 12 degrees. And here in beautiful Marquette, it is 9 degrees and partly cloudy. Let's get into your future conditions. Starting out on Friday, we have a high of 15 degrees and a low of 1 degrees, and it is partly cloudy. It will be partly cloudy the next day on Saturday with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 15. And on Sunday, we will be expecting some more snow with a high of 22 degrees and a low of 12 degrees. Let's go ahead and get into your sports update with Michael Cudahy.
Hi there. Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Keith Yandle has surpassed the NHL's all-time record for most consecutive games. Yandle, who is 35 years old, played in his 965th straight game on Tuesday night against the New York Islanders. Although the Flyers lost 4-3, it was a monumental occasion for Yandle, who now has overtaken former Ironman Doug Jarvis, who sat at 964 consecutive games. Yandle has now played across 11 consecutive seasons and 1,075 games total. His streak was threatened last year when he lost several teeth and considered scratching being a healthy scratch at the beginning of the season, but chose to play the full game with a full cage on his face. Yandle has also made it through the past 2 years without missing a game due to COVID protocol. The next closest player to Yandle's record is Coyotes' Phil the Thrill Kessel, who sits at 941 consecutive games. And the African Cup of Nations tournament continues this week with the round of 16 played today. 8 teams now enter the quarterfinal stages as they move closer to the coveted international trophy. This week was full of dramatic games and painful exits as the competition slimmed. Morocco came from a goal down to beat Malawi 2-1, with goals coming from Sevilla's and Nassari and Champions League winner Achraf Hakimi. Morocco will face Egypt in this weekend's quarterfinal, who narrowly beat the Ivory Coast on penalties, with the deciding penalty coming from Ballon d'Or nominee Mohamed Salah. One of the competition's favorites, Nigeria, faced a shock exit at the hands of Tunisia, who won 1-0 thanks to a goal from Youssef Masakni. And that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to Public Eye News. I'm Michael Cudahy.
And I'm Brendan Ford.
We'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.